Hello, Steve White, Steve RC9. Well, I'm sort of doing a celebration of Gay Pride Month looking at gay films, and I just did a review of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, and I feel like I should acknowledge Frigay the 13th, Part 7. Even though it's not a gay film, there isn't actually a gay character in the actual story. Most of the cast were gay, particularly the male actors, and it did lead to a fairly legendary lack of chemistry between the two leads, and it got blamed for the film not doing as well as it could have. I don't necessarily think that isn't there, and I think they both did a very good job of acting, but yeah, it just has a reputation for the behind the scenes stuff. They were basically all that cast was away, sort of filming on location, so there was a lot of hijinks and people were very much in everyone's business, and that's when you really get to know people around you. Whereas if you're just working at the studio, people come in, they go, you're probably not going to know anything about their personal lives. But when you're basically living in like a hotel or like a camp, because a lot of the Friday the 13th films filmed on location at camps, and they actually had the actors staying in the camp, and it became a little community. And Seven was a little bit like that. And everyone got to know everyone's business, and the actors, most of the male actors were gay. And yeah, some people have issues with that. Like I said, some people blame the lack of chemistry or the box office, the lackluster box office of the film on the leads not having any chemistry. I don't think that has anything to do with it. The film itself, like I said, doesn't have any gay characters, so technically it's not a gay film, but I just feel like it deserves a little bit of attention. There's a girl, Tina, she's has telekinesis like Carrie. She gets upset with her father when she's a child and accidentally drowns him in the lake because he's abusing her mother. She goes back to the lake, the doctor trying to help her with her issues surrounding the guilt and all that, but what he's really trying to do is just get her to bring out her telekinesis so he can exploit it for his own means. She of course meets this boy who likes her, he keeps chasing her, and she has these run-ins with the other kids, the bitchy, blonde, 80s girl, and there's the other girls there, and she doesn't really befriend anyone. She really only becomes involved with Nick, and she's preoccupied with her visions and the baggage from her dad and everything. We see the usual characters get taken out. John Carl Beekler, it's hard to say anything bad about him because he's dead and people don't like you speaking ill of the dead, but he didn't do a great job of directing. He relied totally on the superficial elements of the special effects and didn't just seem to be oblivious of the fact that the censors had a history of being very hard on Friday the 13th, and of course they just gutted all these effects, and he sort of said, I sort of set up all these jokes about the punchlines, and I'm like, yeah, the film kind of feels like that. And I'm like, you should never have done that in the first place. You shouldn't have been relying on the visual effects and the makeup and the horror. You should have been relying on developing characters that we care about, that we're scared for something happening to them, rather than just, like, literally there's scenes, in the direction I really found was poor. There's scenes where you just see Jason walking up behind someone and then just kill them. I'm like, where was the tension? Where was the surprise? It's like he's right there walking, the person's standing there unaware he's coming up behind him, and then from behind, boom, knife goes through them and they're dead. That's sort of the level, and because he just wanted to show the effects. So yeah, and he always complains that the censors ruined the film, that they cut it to pieces, and it's kind of true, but it shouldn't have been solely an effects film anyway. So that's my little review of Frigay the 13th. Like I said, it was mostly the behind-the-scenes stuff, but it did sort of leak into the perception of the film overall, and the idea that the gay actor didn't have any chemistry with the lead, and that being an issue. So I always found it interesting that comes out, but there's not much else to say about it. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Friday the 13th Part 7. A New Blood, or Frigay the 13th Part 7. I do like that it kind of has a reputation, because it isn't necessarily a bad thing. People aren't putting it down, but they just seem to be acknowledging it. on that level, so I do kind of appreciate that. But it's 5 minutes, I've got to stop talking. And yeah, since it's not technically a gay film, there's not a lot to really talk about so far as what actually happens on screen. It's more about the production and sort of the legacy and reputation of the film that's more interesting, and how that was perceived within the fan bases and within Hollywood and that. But I'm going to go.